I am coming to you live from the facility with some significant developments that are shifting the landscape of the organization. We are looking at a complex web of roster moves, draft strategy, and internal friction that could define the next few seasons. From a high-priced addition voicing his frustrations about his former team, to the front office aggressively pursuing a move up the draft board, the intensity is palpable. Plus, we need to discuss how upcoming draft projections might signal a major shift for one of our key offensive weapons. Let us break it down.
The arrival of a high-profile target like Jerry Jeudy in Cleveland brings with it a specific set of expectations and, as we have seen recently, a certain level of raw emotion regarding his exit from his previous organization. When we talk about a player commanding a significant financial commitment, in this case an investment reaching the $17 million mark, the front office is looking for more than just production. They are looking for a culture fit and a player who is ready to embrace the specific challenges of the AFC North. However, the comments surfacing regarding his alleged demotion with his former team provide a window into the chip he is carrying on his shoulder. From an analytical perspective, this is precisely the kind of internal drive that coaches often look to harness. When a player feels slighted, the intensity during training camp drills and the focus during film study tend to elevate. The challenge for the coaching staff will be ensuring that this frustration translates into on-field discipline rather than emotional volatility. We have seen time and again that the transition from a struggling offense to a system that prioritizes specific route-running nuances requires a massive adjustment period. Jerry Jeudy possesses the athletic profile to be a game-changer, specifically in creating separation against man coverage, which is a staple in our division. His ability to navigate the short and intermediate areas of the field is exactly what the offense lacked during the injury-plagued stretches of last season. Financially speaking, the contract structure reflects a belief in his long-term ceiling rather than just his immediate impact. By putting this kind of capital into a receiver, the organization is signaling that they are tired of relying solely on depth pieces and are ready to push for a more explosive passing attack. While the public swipes at his previous team might generate headlines, the real story is how he integrates with the current quarterback room. If he can become a reliable safety valve, the entire offensive scheme changes. The offensive coordinator now has the flexibility to move pieces around the formation, knowing that someone like Jerry Jeudy can demand consistent attention from opposing defensive coordinators. This is a high-stakes move, and the pressure to perform immediately is undeniable. Every drop, every missed assignment, and every sideline interaction will be scrutinized under the microscope of the local media. However, if this emotional fire can be directed into consistent execution, the Browns might have found the missing piece to unlock their full potential in the red zone and beyond. It is a calculated risk, but in a league where winning margins are razor-thin, taking a chance on a talented player with something to prove is often the difference between a playoff spot and a long offseason. But that is not the only situation developing right now as the front office looks toward the future.
If you are enjoying this deep dive into the latest developments inside the building, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for daily updates. We have more breaking analysis coming up. General Manager Andrew Berry has never been one to sit on his hands when he identifies a talent that can change the trajectory of the roster. The current chatter surrounding the 6th overall pick is not just idle speculation, it represents a fundamental shift in how the organization is viewing their immediate championship window. When we look at the draft capital required to move up, we have to consider the long-term ramifications for the salary cap and the depth of the roster. However, Andrew Berry has shown a propensity for aggressive maneuvering when he identifies a cornerstone player, whether that be in the secondary or at the line of scrimmage. The strategic logic here is sound. If you believe you are one elite playmaker away from contending for a title, you do not wait for the draft to come to you. You go out and get the player who can dictate the game. The 6th pick is a prime spot that allows for the acquisition of a blue-chip prospect who can step in and start from day one. We are talking about players who can neutralize opposing stars or provide that missing spark in a high-octane offense. The difficulty lies in the cost. Trading up usually requires a king's ransom in terms of future draft picks, which limits your ability to fill holes in later rounds. Nevertheless, the front office is clearly evaluating the risk-reward ratio and deciding that the present is worth the sacrifice of the future. From a tactical standpoint, if they move up to 6, they are likely targeting a specific position group that is particularly thin or aging on the current roster. By securing a premium talent at a position of need, they mitigate the risk of needing to hunt for answers in free agency, which is often more expensive and less reliable.
Historically, the team has been very disciplined with their resources, but we are entering a phase where the roster is mature enough to justify a win-now mentality. The scouting department has been working overtime to vet the top prospects who could potentially fall into that range. If a player who fits the scheme perfectly starts to slide, the phone lines will be burning up. We expect the organization to be active in negotiations right up until the clock starts, as they weigh the value of the picks against the potential impact of the player. This is not just about drafting a name, it is about drafting a solution to the problems that haunted the team last season. The fan base is rightfully excited, but there is also a level of anxiety regarding the cost of such a move. If Andrew Berry pulls the trigger, he is betting his own reputation on the success of that selection. It is a bold stance that speaks volumes about the confidence within the organization's current evaluation process. The draft is the lifeblood of any successful franchise, and this move would be the ultimate test of their board and their long-term vision. We are monitoring the situation closely as the draft approaches, and we'll have updates the moment a deal materializes.
As we examine the latest mock draft scenarios, it is impossible to ignore the ripple effect these projections have on existing personnel, specifically concerning players like Jerry Jeudy. Head coach Kevin Stefanski is constantly balancing the need for veteran consistency with the potential of incoming rookie talent. When the draft boards start pointing toward high-end offensive skill players, it creates a natural tension in the locker room. The reality of the modern NFL is that no position is truly safe if a team can upgrade through the draft. If the front office decides to prioritize a receiver or a versatile weapon in the early rounds, it naturally puts pressure on the established starters to prove their worth during the offseason program. Kevin Stefanski has built a culture of competition where the best players earn their snaps, regardless of their salary or tenure. But this draft trend specifically targets the perimeter. The offensive system relies heavily on timing and trust, and bringing in a new high draft pick receiver requires a total recalibration of those passing concepts. We have to look at how the team prioritizes its personnel groupings. If they go with a heavy receiver class in this draft, it might signal a move toward more 3 wide receiver sets, which would fundamentally change the way the team approaches its personnel packages. This could be a positive for the overall offensive production, but it also creates a squeeze on the roster depth. The coaching staff has to determine which players offer the most versatility and which ones are becoming redundant. For a player like Jerry Jeudy, these draft rumors are a challenge to his status as a go-to option. It forces him to become more than just a wideout. He has to become a leader who can mentor younger players while simultaneously fighting for targets. This is the kind of pressure that tends to define a season. If the draft plays out as some analysts are projecting, the offensive identity will shift toward a more vertical and dynamic approach. This fits the profile of a team looking to stretch the field, but it also demands a high level of accountability. Every player on the roster understands that the draft is an opportunity for the organization to pivot if they feel a position group is underperforming. The coaching staff is clearly looking for ways to maximize the talent on hand, but they are also keeping their options open for a potential infusion of youth. It is a delicate balance that requires clear communication and a shared vision between the front office and the coaching staff. As we get closer to draft day, the noise will only get louder, and the speculation will intensify. However, the focus remains on building a team that can compete at the highest level in the AFC. The integration of new talent with veteran experience is the ultimate goal, and Kevin Stefanski is tasked with weaving all these pieces together into a cohesive, championship-caliber machine.
It is clear that this is a pivotal time for the organization, with Andrew Berry and the front office keeping every option on the table. Whether it is managing the emotions of new additions or preparing for a potentially franchise-altering trade in the draft, the intensity is only going to ramp up from here. What do you think? Should the team push all their chips into the middle for that 6th overall pick, or should they play it safe and build through depth? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more inside access.